Welcome to Mommy Making Millions, the podcast. I'm your hostess, Marquita Deshay, mompreneur mentor, author, and visionary strategist. I help mompreneurs develop balance between their businesses and their babies while attaining generational wealth, simply taking their ideas and helping them to turn it into profitable income. Join me bi-weekly as I put the spotlight on other successful millionaire mompreneurs for them to also share their best business practices and truly unveil what it looks like from the glamorous life to the deep, dark, nitty-gritty life of a mompreneur. All right, y'all, let's go to work. Y'all ever watch Bishop T.D. Jakes, and as soon as he comes on to actually give the word after they do praise and worship, he like, let's go to work. Okay, I feel like that because after y'all finish listening to the intro, I'm like, let's go to work because y'all, let's talk about it. Welcome back, Mommy Millionaires, to another episode of Mommy Making Millions, the podcast. I don't even have to give myself no introduction at this point. I'm ready to get into this message for y'all today. Listen, let's talk about it. Y'all, I have been holding on to my cousin that is no longer with us. She passed away last Friday, so it's been a week since her death. Her name was Dion. She was a first cousin. Y'all know, like, first cousins are like sisters. Let's talk about that. Okay, so this is a cousin that I've known, I've looked up to for 30 something years, and she's no longer with us. She has been battling with lupus, and the lupus she had actually attacked her kidneys. So I had been like harnessing and doing all of these things, y'all, behind the scenes that you couldn't even imagine, that I was doing and being pulled in ways that I was um, being pulled upon. But guess what, y'all? Business still had to run, right? This is my life, right? This is my livelihood. I don't have a 9 to 5, and then shout out to the people that still got their 9 to 5s. You keep on pushing that thing and you keep getting that cash flow generating until you get to a point where you ain't got to work. You could just sit there and the business is running. But until then, shout out to y'all on y'all 9 to 5 and those that are listening to this podcast while they sitting at their desk, okay? But for the girls that actually don't have the liberty of having a 9 to 5, and we are in full entrepreneurship, you know what I mean, what I'm saying right now. When you don't have no income coming in, but the income from you getting up grinding every day, this is a different type of grind I'm talking about. Do I got anybody that's in the season of understanding what this grind looks like? I'm just saying, is it just me, Mommy Millionaires? Because y'all Mommy Making Millions. So I thought I could come to this community because I built this podcast on us talking about the nitty gritty life of a real life mompreneur. That's me, she, I am her. Okay. So y'all know I'm crazy, but I say that to say the things that happened with my cousin were very, very detrimental to just my spirit. And unfortunately, I'll give you guys some more insight. My aunt, that's her mom, is battling terminal illness as well with, I can't really say, but so she's terminally ill, so ill to the point to where she has no clue really what's going on with her daughter. And it's really um me, like me is me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. Like I'm standing in the need for the family right now, being the lifeline, being the backbone, being the support. I am my grandmother's daughter. Hello, talk about getting older. And so I say this to say, I know some of y'all are in y'all families and you guys, people are really looking up to some of y'all, and you don't really have a choice. You have to remain the strong one. You have to remain the one that everyone can go to. You have to be the one that people can depend on. If not you, then it's really like nobody else. And so I want you to identify and understand that in this season, I want you to understand that God sees you and that what you're doing, it is not going in vain. Nothing that you're doing, it is in vain. And it's everything that's happening, that's pulling, purifying you, pruning you, and it's preparing you. Oh, that's a word. How did y'all hear that? Purifying you, can we get that right? Pruning you, and preparing you. Purifying, pruning, and preparing. All right. I got it right. I was so choked up on how that just flowed out. It was just like, that wasn't written, y'all. That was off the dome. Okay. So yeah, what's happening in this season of your life is necessary for your journey. I always talk about preparation, and I always talk about that season of becoming, but you gotta know that the weight on you is worth the wait. So what you're waiting on in this season, what you're preparing for in this season, what you're working towards in this season, honey, keep going. Keep going. All gas, no brakes. 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025. Okay, till the wheels fall off. So the message today that I'm going to be talking about is getting around the red tape, right? And I was sitting there watching my aunt because she's now at home. And I've been dealing with my aunt. She's a hairstylist of 38 years, y'all. So y'all can only imagine she's done my hair before. She's actually the stylist on my book cover. Shameless plug, Secrets of a House of Divas, 10 Success Secrets of 10 Success Secrets that never go out of style. So if you don't have my book, you need to get my book. It's right on Amazon. I'm just saying. But she's the one who actually did my hair for that actual shoot. You know, this is my aunt. If you look at me, y'all, I actually look like her. I'm going to actually post a picture of us side by side. So I say that to say, whenever I had a problem or just growing up, my aunt she's been a hairstylist for 38 years, y'all. I can remember sitting in her chair and her telling me, once upon a time I had a problem, and I was moving from Texas or whatever the case was with my situation. I was always able to go to my aunt, and she would always just say, "Oh, that ain't nothing. It's just some red tape you got to get around. You got to figure out how to get around the red tape." And it wasn't until just recently I was sitting there in the bed with her because she's so ill, and she's to the point where she is just terminally ill, is no other better way to say it. She's no longer able to use her limbs. And really, she's not paralyzed, but she's that weak. She cannot even use anything from the neck down. Sometimes she wiggles her fingers. And this is a illness that has came on rather quickly. So why am I saying that? I have been going to help and be at the aid of my aunt for the last 6 months, just whatever she needs. And the thing is one of the things she talks about is her hair and her appearance. And I always go and do her hair and make sure that, you know, she looks nice, takes the time to oil her scalp. And we just have these conversations. And so visiting her in the hospital and now to see her finally back home, I'm like, oh, you know, we got to get this hair done right. And, you know, she used to say that was the only thing that she really just cared about, but now she's to the process where you can't really hear her talk. You can't really hear what she's saying. Just bear with me. I promise I'm going somewhere with this. And so she's to the point where she's whispering about everything, right? And as a little girl, I always watched, I wanted to get my degree in, I don't know what it's called, but it's sign language and communications. And so as a former praise dancer, if anyone has praise dance, or if you have ever been in church, you know, the praise dancers use sign language when they're praise dancing. So I knew how to do sign language for praise dancing, taught my kids a couple of sign languages, or how to sign. And then if I'm in church, I always watch the interpreter. I never knew why, I just always did. So my aunt's in the hospital bed and we're talking, and nobody can understand her but me. And then they realized, I was like, how do you understand how to read her lips? I said, well, I used to want to become a silent interpreter when I was a kid, believe it or not, I don't know why. So I was able to read her lips. And if you know me, I used to have this fear of looking people in their face. So I never would look them in their eyes. I used to watch their mouth. Okay. So my aunt gets home and nobody can understand her. So I'm there way more because she knows I just gets it. She looks at me when she sees me walk in the room and she knows I am about to take care of business. In fact, she knows that when it's time to shut them down, she got a niece that's going to go to work for her. Okay. So my aunt looks at me this way. And then as I was sitting there talking to her, I was telling her, you know, she tells me what's wrong with her. And I'd be like, how are we going to get that done? And she shakes her head, you know, at everybody else. And she tells me until I get it done. And I laughed. I said, it's just red tape I got to get around, huh? And she winks because I said, can you still wink, auntie? And she winked the eye at me. You know, these are moments, guys, that I'm just talking to y'all because I told y'all this is therapy for me on this podcast. So if you with me, just stay with me. I promise I'm going to get y'all to these talking points. So we're talking about getting around red tape. So my auntie taught me at a very early age how to get around red tape. Whenever I had a problem with whatever it was that I was going through, I always talked to my aunt, and she always talked about just figuring out a way, finagling a way, of understanding where the loopholes were, and looking at life differently. And the reason I say that is because, you know, I was going to entitle this topic "Getting Back to the Drawing Board." Because some of us have dropped our potential. Some of us have dropped our vision, dropped our values, dropped our dreams as moms, because there's so much that we're dealing with that people don't understand the capacity of the frequency that we're operating on. Some of us are operating on empty, and there's no way for us to pour from an empty cup. There's no way. So I took the time to bring y'all back a little bit so y'all could understand y'all not in this alone. Y'all not in this by yourselves. Y'all are not in this as a mommy millionaire of one. Y'all got a community of mommy millionaires that's going to stand in the need. What you need us to pray for you. Make sure you tuning into this, because I need y'all to hear me coming through this microphone. I get it. I get you. I'm her. Everything that I'm creating and being bold enough to do in this season is because I see you. I see you in your struggles. I see you in your shortcomings. I see you in all that God has for you. And I see that all that you have to offer. So I can't allow you to drop your vision. I can't allow you to give up on your dream. I can't allow you to give up on who God has called you to be, because it's just red tape that y'all got to get around, Mommy Millionaire. Okay, it's just red tape that you got to get around. So how do we get around this red tape? It's mental, right? You have to make a change. You have to be able to identify what needs to be done differently, what's working, what's not working. It's time to get back to the drawing board. It's time to get out that piece of paper. It's time to book your free discovery call with me, or your strategy call with me, or that next coach that you've been watching. It's time for y'all to get back in the game. It's time for y'all to start back showing up, because it's in the journey where you're going to find out who God is truly calling you to be. And if you never take this journey, then you're never going to get to the finish line. This is why we talk about success not being for the weak, because you're going to be in a season where everybody and anybody and whoever is going to be able to call and put on you in this season will. We are called to serve our businesses, on our jobs, in our families. We are nurturers. Y'all know I'm always pronouncing something a little crazy. Yeah, it comes with it, okay? We are caregivers. Everything that we have been through is working for us. I was a CNA leaving Job Corps, and I wanted to be a nurse before I got my health administration management degree. And I'll never forget working on those units with those Alzheimer's patients and people that were not able to care for themselves, and being able to care for my auntie in the way that I'm caring for her. I have all of the qualifications. God has already qualified you well before you even came and arrived at this point in your life, but you are looking at all of the things that are going wrong where you're not even paying attention to what God has prepared you for. I used to say, God, I think I kind of want to go in ministry. How I'm going to go in ministry? I don't understand. I don't get it. But the more I show up, the more I allow God to use me, the more I see how I'm ministering. This is nothing more than ministry. I didn't keep a job as a CNA. My life was bigger than that. but it was where I started from. Okay. It was where I started from that has allowed me to reach understanding what my aunt is going through, understanding what other loved ones are going through, understanding with the health administration degree, how to advocate on their behalf in the healthcare world. So you have to be able to do some things differently in your life. So you have to get back to that drawing board. You have to realize what you did right and what you did wrong, okay? So do something different on this season so that you can see different results, okay? Go back to your playbook to see what you've already used and what's not working, okay? What you're doing, it's gotten you as far as it can take you right now. So you have to change the play. Think about anytime you're in a basketball, sports, you know, you can't keep showing up with the same plays. Look at what you've already done. Look in your playbook and see what it is you still have room enough to do. You have to get tired. I ain't gonna say tired. I'm gonna say you got to get tired of being sick and tired of being tired. I'm tired of being sick and tired. I was tired of being broke. I was tired of living in generational poverty. I was tired of working 9 to 5 and people lowballing me or not promoting me, or me not getting the position, or me not getting the credit, or me not being the one when God has already called me to be great. You have to get tired of being tired and change the habits to match your success. You can't keep showing up expecting to be successful with habits that kept you broke. Successful people think differently. That's a book on Amazon. Get it. Read it. Implement the strategies, the tools. I'm giving y'all the game. Get the knowledge. You need a coach. You need a mentor. You need something that's going to push you to be different, to think differently. You need to be in a season of operating on, you know what, God, I'm tired of being sick and tired. And what is it about me that I need to change? Because in order for me to get around this red tape, I have to be able to identify all of the pieces. This is what the picture shows, but also what doesn't the picture show? Okay? I need y'all to understand that. I need y'all to understand, change your habits. You can't keep on showing up without not being fully prepared. Me going over there to help my aunt, I have to structure things differently within my workflow so that I can still be able to be duplicated. It's only really one of me. And it's only really one of you, unless you have the liberty of having people that you have brought on, virtual assistants, personal assistants, cooks, cleaners, team members, to do things that you don't really have time to do, but you can pay them to do it. These are ways that we duplicate ourselves. But until you get to the point where you're able to duplicate yourself, you have to figure out ways to still be able to show up effectively. Systems, automations. This is what I teach in my 8-week accelerator. Structure, systems, strategy. You need a new strategy. Get back to the drawing board, Mommy Millionaire. Don't be ever afraid to change up the gameplay. Don't be ever afraid to go back to the drawing board and to do things differently, or see how you can improve, or see where you need to work on, what areas that need to be worked on. You cannot give up when things get tough. I could easily give up. I could have easily felt like, you know, my cousin is dying. I'm dealing with my children. I'm dealing with my family. I'm empty. I feel like I was pouring from an empty cup. I'm not going to kid you. Y'all want to know what kept me going? You, my family, my community, my mentors, my faith, my prayer, my brokenness. I am strong, but I'm also weak. And as moms, we are. But when you've built a community, I was thinking I had nobody, y'all, for a while. I'm so thankful for the people that have reached out. I'm so thankful for the people that have sent me words of condolences, words of comfort. And God will show you who's in your corner when you least expect it. You think you don't have anybody, just like this podcast is for you at this given time. What I went through wasn't for me. It was for me to get on this podcast and to give this word to you. This is for you, mommy millionaire. Get back up. Get back to that drawing board. Get back your focus. Get back your faith. Get back to the business. Get back to the drawing board. I don't care how many times you failed. I don't care how many times you tried. I don't care how many times it did not work. I don't care how many times it cost you. You have to know. You have to get back in the fight. You scared of a little punch? You scared to get knocked off your feet? You scared? You think Jesus wasn't scared when he was rose for our iniquities and bruised? Come on, y'all. I ain't no, sounds like some preaching to me. This is Mommy Making Millions podcast. How are you coming? Because we have to identify and we have to know we are stronger. The devil likes to get inside your mind and make you think that you are less than, to make you think you can't, to make you think you got nothing, to make you think this is too much, to make you think your time has already passed, to make you think just right now, maybe not right now. God isn't a God of procrastination. So get back up, get in the fight. Stop taking the gloves off when things get tough. It's going to take your sweat, your tears, your prayers, your brokenness. It's going to take you giving everything you got in a season. But God is testing you to still show up. Can you still show up? And when you have nothing, come back over to the Mommy Making Millions community because we got you. Transform how you think. Because when you're looking at the red tape, that red tape my auntie always talked about, and I would be talking to her about all these problems and everything I done tried and everything I done tried and failed in. And you know what she would tell me? She would smile and say, it's just red tape. Because she knew, she had faith, she believed that there was an alternative route. If you're listening to this podcast and you think you've tried everything, there's an alternative route for you. And then there's a lesson in that learning. Make sure you connect with your community. Be sure to connect with me. Be sure to connect with your own business coach. Be sure to get back to that drawing board and identify areas of opportunity. Okay. The last thing I want to say is you have to be able to remove pride. Ooh, did I step on my own toes? We can't be prideful. I was sad. No, I wasn't sad. I wouldn't say I was sad. But I was a little embarrassed because now my office is now my front living room. And actually is really kind of cute if I really just had to think about it. I actually like the working ecosystem space that I have better than my showroom. I was there paying overhead and I wasn't even working out of my office all the time. And I didn't want to share that with people. I'm a Mommy Making Million from my living room couch, y'all. Can y'all imagine that? My dining room table is now my conference room table. It sits 6 people. Who's showing up? I have a studio where I can ship out inventory. I have my desk where I can do my podcast. God has given me everything I need. What do I need to be ashamed of? You thinking that what you have you are ashamed of. We're too prideful to talk about where we are. We're too prideful to share who we are becoming. We're too prideful to ask for help. We're too prideful to say we don't know. You should never feel like you want to be the smartest in the room. Ask for help. Don't be too prideful to say you don't have the help. Seek, knock, ask, and you shall receive. But if you don't ask, closed mouth don't get fed. Ain't nobody gonna know what you need, sis, until you speak these things. So you don't want to be too proud. Ain't too proud to bed. Hey. Okay. Get back to that drawing board. Understand and identify where the red tape is. Hire the talent that you need. Identify who you need to be. Conduct a SWOT analysis of your business. If you don't know how to properly do one, let's get on a strategy call. I'm going to go to work with y'all. I'm going to go toe to toe with you and your business and your legacy, because that's who I do. That's what I do. We believe in God for bigger because he is big. He's a big God. You believe in God to just bless you, make sure your water bill is paid. I'm always talking about this water bill. We believe in God for bigger. That house that you're visioning, I see it. You see it. Something that you guys have been waiting for, praying for. Something that you failed. Something didn't go right. Something didn't happen the way you thought it was going to happen, so you gave up on it. You were distracted. Maybe you had a loved one that got sick. Maybe you had a loved one that died. Maybe, you robbing Peter to pay Paul. I don't know. But get back to the drawing board and see what is available for you. I always talk about checking that inventory. I always talk about using what you think you don't got. I want you to use what you think you don't need. I'm sorry. I want you to use the things that you have and you are too embarrassed to use those things. Those are the things that I want you to use. Those are the things that's going to help you be successful. Those are the things that's going to keep you showing up as your authentic self. Those are the things that's going to help you get around the red tape.